Now Tesla actually has a really clever way of designing their cars, and that's what we're going to have a look at in this video. And then I'm also going to redesign the Tesla Model 3 into what I think the next generation could look like and take some inspiration from the Tesla Roadster. So let's have a look at what I'm talking about right here with Tesla having a clever design. Up top we have the Tesla Model 3. I'm going to go walk through the entire range here real quick from a side view to show you just how cool it is that Tesla just came out into 2012 with the Tesla Model S, and it's still in production, and the reason why that still looks very good. So we have the Model 3 right here. So imagine redesigning the Model 3, the best-selling EV of all time, the only EV to ever surpass 1 million cars sold, which is super impressive considering how young Tesla is as a company. So it has very clear design language already, Tesla. We have some nice design flow in the body. It doesn't really look like one of these static product design looking EVs. It has a lot of car design in this, and what I mean by that, there's a lot of emotion in this car and a lot of beautiful line flow. I love this surface treatment of the Model 3. That also goes in, of course, to the Model Y, as you can see right here. This sharp line that cuts into the body fades right here and then comes back in a beautiful sweeping line into the headlights in the front end. They do beautiful designs. These are some of the best looking EVs out there in my opinion, and that's also the reason why I decided to get another Model 3, because since I sold mine I really missed it, and I'm now back in a Model 3 performance. Now moving on to the Model S, this is what I want to talk about and how cleverly designed the Model S is, because it has this almost timeless design, and I want to talk about this before we go into the redesign of the Model 3, which I'm going to do in just a minute here. But I just want to quickly mention this and how well designed the Model S actually is. Before we go any further in the redesign, let me introduce you to today's sponsor, NordPass. So let me ask you a question. Do you use Facebook to log in pretty much everywhere online when you're shopping or when you're browsing around on different websites? And have you ever wondered what would happen if someone actually hacked your Facebook? Hackers would literally have access to all your online info, including credit cards and home address, which could easily lead to identity theft. And that's where NordPass comes in. It's the essential cybersecurity tool developed by the same people who gave us NordVPN with over 14 million users worldwide. The thing is, you got all passwords stored in one encrypted vault in one place, and you don't need to reset your password 5 times a day. And on top of that, you can sync all your password across 6 different devices. NordPass also has a secure password generator to make sure your passwords are complex and unique enough, and it also lets you store your credit cards for faster checkout online. Cybersecurity is becoming more and more important in today's world, and NordPass makes it hassle-free to keep all your passwords strong, secure, and super easy to access when you need them. So click the link below in the description or in the first comment of this video to get an exclusive deal and an additional free month of NordPass, or simply go to nordpass.com and use the code TheSketchMonkey at checkout. And if you decide it's not for you after the free trial, NordPass offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. Click the link below to get started today and set up all your password in one encrypted vault today. Thanks to NordPass for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the redesign. Because when it came out in 2012, it looked very modern, and the thing is, it still looks very modern. So what is the secret here with the Model S that has this super long lifespan, and it doesn't look like it's gonna be replaced anytime soon with the Plaid that just came out, and it still looks very tight? And the reason being is they decided to keep the styling very conservative when it came to any new Teslas when they fired up this entire model range, because they knew that these cars are going to be in production for a very long time. Since they are a startup company, they didn't want to have too crazy designs that would be obsolete in 5 years time. It's almost like taking the best elements from all the sedans of the early 2010 era and combining it into one design. So when you do that, you get a timeless design like the Model S right here, and if you want to update it, all you got to do is update the graphics and you have a still very modern looking design. For example, the LEDs in the rear end, I think finally Tesla decided to add an LED strip in the Model S instead of having those small separate light bulbs in the rear like we have in the Model Y and in the Model 3 and also in the Model X. The Model X, in my opinion, is the car that looks the least attractive, I would say. The reason for that is it looks too much like a bubble, and I think this section is proportionally way too small for the rest of the body, but it gives it a very, very practical reason for that, and that is you now have a lot of interior space in the Model X right there. And yes, the proportion will look a little weird, but I think they went with functionality above anything else in the Model X, because it is, after all, a family SUV. And then we have the car that I'm going to take some inspiration from when we redesign the Model 3 from our rear view. That is, of course, this beauty right here, the Tesla Roadster. I have no idea when this thing is actually going to go into production, but I'm sure it will eventually hit the production floor. How can we forget the Tesla Cybertruck? I mean, compare this. This is such a fun comparison to look at. Like, what happened here? What happened with the design of the Cybertruck? It's a cool design because it's something we've never seen before, but it doesn't follow any of the rules of previous Teslas. And it's going to be interesting to see what, for example, the next Model S or all these are going to look like. Are they going to take some inspiration from the Cybertruck? I personally don't think so, because if you need to redesign the best-selling EV of all time, you need to be very, very, very careful. And that's exactly what I'm going to be when I redesign the Tesla Model 3 here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 3/4 rear view, and one detail that I love about the Tesla Roadster, at least from pictures, I haven't seen it in real life yet, I think the rear end is definitely the money shot for the Tesla Roadster. I love the taillight treatment, how the taillights kind of sit almost a bit mysterious deep in this eye socket in the rear end. You don't know exactly what's going on there. Is it a hole? Is it an air vent or an air outlet? And then you have some LEDs sitting inside, and what is exactly the structure of these LEDs? And I like that it brings up my curiosity of the shape, because I can't tell it clearly from the pictures. It looks very interesting, and I think this rear end, with a bit of modifications, as you're gonna see here in the redesign, would look really, really cool on the Tesla Model 3. So that's what I'm gonna do here. And the reason I'm redesigning this is because I think the Tesla Model 3 is one of the best looking EVs out there today. I'm gonna make a full design review in real life of my own Tesla Model 3 performance on my third channel, talking about everything I like about the design in the exterior and also the interior, and also let you know what I don't like. So go subscribe to my third channel called Bambly 2. I'm gonna link that down in the description if you want to go and check that out. But I think overall it's a really good looking EV. Usually EVs, as we talked about, they have this this bubbly proportion, and everything seems to be, the identity of EV seems to be stripped away in favor of airflow and less resistance. But the Tesla Model 3 is a very efficient car when it comes to airflow, but it still looks like a car. It still has that automotive design instead of the industrial design that we see in a lot of EVs these days, and that I appreciate that. And that is a very brave move by Tesla to do that, since this is their first really mass-produced EV. Yes, the Model S was their first one in 2012, but this is when they had refined everything they learned from the Model S and implemented it in a car that is both cheaper than the Model S and also that sold in a lot more volume than the Model S as well. So if I'm gonna put the Tesla Roadster taillights and top part of the rear end onto the Model 3, what I need to do is I need to bring the diffuser up higher up. The reason I need to do that is because I don't want it to look too high. The new taillights are gonna sit a little higher than the taillights that we have on the Model 3 right now, and what that does is it kind of drags everything up. So I don't want it to look top heavy in the rear end. What we need to do to battle that is to raise up the graphic feature that is the diffuser. And I also think one of the things that I think Tesla should have done differently with the Model 3 is to make the Model 3 performance stand out more from the rest of the long range and the standard range plus, or the rear wheel drive it's called these days. And you could do that by adding some diffusers and stuff like that, side skirts, and maybe something different in the body itself, not just added pieces onto the car, but something that's clearly stands out from the long range and the rear wheel drive model. And I think this would maybe be a cool idea to have a larger diffuser in the rear end. It looks great. It's probably going to help a little bit with the suction and the downforce in the rear end. And as what my goal for this diffuser is to help balance out the higher taillights that we have now in the rear end. And I think it's actually working out right here. And then we have the top part. So the thing with the thing with this redesign is I'm gonna make a bunch of changes to the taillights, but if you stick around to the end, you're gonna see that I actually went back a lot in the end, because I figured you know, there's sometimes you can design things and you go overboard with the styling, and I think that's what happened here. I didn't stay true to my original concept, that was to take the Roadster taillight and taillight assembly and add that onto Model 3. That looks really good, but then I started to mess around with the LEDs inside and it got all kind of messy, and in the very end of this video I'm actually gonna go back to my original concept, and that's gonna be the final concept and rendering for this Tesla Model 3. I don't know, if you ask me, I think the Tesla Roadster taillight actually looks really good on the Model 3, and this would be a cool, you know, next generation Model 3, because we now have some more complexity in the rear end and it makes it feel more grown up. The current Tesla Model 3 has a very simple taillight. There is no intakes or outlets or you know, cool indents in the rear. And it's very flat and very beautiful design, but still kind of too safe for me. And this looks like Tesla would definitely take their design language and identity into the next level with some taillights from the Tesla Roadster. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks to NordPass for sponsoring this video. Make sure you click the link down in the description to start your free trial today. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.